Okay. All right. So give me a backdrop. I need to know the management company's name, the manager that you've been dealing with, and the issues that you have been dealing with in your property.
Okay, so it's Lakeside Management, L Home, 236, 721 Kelly Street, Pittsburgh, PA 15208. And Daniel Floyd is the property manager. We have not had the best communication. When my hot water tank went out, and I have been emailing them and calling them for a minute about the water, the hot water coming off and on, and things doing crazy stuff, and they were just not very responsive, just not consistent with their communication. It was like 3 4 days I didn't have hot water, and she called me back, and then they didn't have the keys, accusing me of not giving them the keys. Yes, you do have the keys. I've been here 4 years. You have keys.
Mhm.
I ended up giving them the extra spare that I had because they acted they couldn't get in here. She hung up on me. I was literally in class, had to leave class to take this phone call, and she's getting smart, hanging up. So I just resolved to always make sure all my communication was via email, so I can have that paper
Mhm.
trail. Because people are lying, saying, 'cause she's trying to cover her tail, protect her job. But the hot water stuff got resolved. Then we started having these floodings. I don't know what's going on down the street, across the street from my house, but the city has some huge machine out there, this big hose going down to a manhole, and they're doing construction further down North Martland Street. And it's been blocked off, and they've been working for over a month, probably going on 2 months at this point. And I came home one night, my whole basement was flooded. Called the fire department. They said whatever they're doing across the street, a manhole was shooting all this water up for hours. I was at school, so I didn't even know. And everybody on my street was flooded. Basement was flooded. Um, I had just got a new hot water tank, and it had got wet, but it ended up being okay. But they had to replace the neighbors, the guy right next door, then the woman next door to him. She still doesn't have hot water.
Mm.
Her hot water tank is still broken. They bought one that was too big, and that is currently sitting downstairs in her basement, wet, because it got
Mhm.
flooded a third time, and they still haven't fixed that. I lost my drive,
Mhm.
um, and they came, they looked, they got and I ended up going to St. Louis, Missouri to present at a convention. I was gone for 3 days, and I came back, and they still had not got that hot water tank situated. So there's like no concern. I have,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So why do I have to come back from this trip when I didn't have hot water before I left, and you still haven't resolved this matter? You have keys, you can come and go. You had my consent to come in here and do what you need to do, and you did nothing. On
Mhm.
top of me not having smoking detectors that worked, no batteries for months. And I have been asking, could you guys please change these smoke detectors? My bathtub has no lining. It's rusted. I That's been over a year. And I still don't have an idea when they plan to fix that. And it's exhausting because
Mhm.
I'm not a troublesome tenant. When Arco was in charge, they had no issues with me. I had no issues with them. Now they were a little slow sometimes, but they did get things done. Now that bathtub was on their watch, and they just didn't do it, dragging their feet because they were planning to sell it and didn't feel like it. But
Mhm.
people I think have had these contracts or whatever for like the past year, and they too are just not maintaining basic necessities that people should have,
Mhm.
basic housing, things that people should have for safety measures. Like I had to contact, I had to reach to a contact that I had at the mayor's office. Her name is Ashley Bryant,
Yeah.
and told me to reach out to Congresswoman Summer Lee's office to speak to a young man named Terrell, and for me to open a congressional inquiry and request an immediate transfer. And I did that yesterday. And I'm praying that something happens and they can get me out of here because it's too much. You know,
Mhm. Mhm.
First they tried to evict me because they didn't want to replace the hot water tank. And I had to, get with you guys to get help with that. Like I was a full-time student at the time, and I just graduated May 4th, but
Congratulations.
I'm still a student because I'm in a master's program now. But I also am not working because my work study job ended when I graduated. So now I'm actively looking for employment. while preparing to go to Ireland in a week for the beginning of my master's residency. So I have so many things that I'm trying to juggle with my children, trying to find summer programming for them when they finish for, for their school year, so I can go to work and do my summer job that I have, that I just got hired for yesterday at Carlo. So I have a lot of moving parts over here that I'm trying to navigate, and I should not have to keep checking up with you to see if you checked your emails.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whole day, y'all said, look, you can't take this personal, because it's not about you, it's about me, my
It's
children,
about your safety,
because there's
right?
all sewage in my basement, and there's plants growing in it, and there's worms crawling around.
Mm-hmm.
Realize how dangerous that was. So I was
Mm-hmm.
on the other night, and I'm like, what? So I'm Googling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have asthma. My daughter has very bad asthma. Like, she's on steroids every day. And she
Mm.
like, so I'm grabbing my kids at 9:30. They should be in the bed. We're running down the street to Target to get some cat litter, so I can just try to, I don't know, do something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Absorb up the water that's still kind of sitting there. It's gross. It's disgusting. These conditions because I'm technically poor. This is a me.
Mm-hmm.
Too, you know
Just
what I mean?
because we got a lack of money does not mean that we are poor. You understand what I'm saying? And people should not treat anybody in any living condition that they're getting money from the federal government that way.
That
That's the bottom line. And that's why I wanted us to have this conversation recorded, because enough is enough. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So wait, let me stop this recording since I got the backdrop, and then hold on, because I still want to continue this conversation.